Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome. It is Halloween, October 31st. Welcome to another edition of Tech Tuesday. And we have a very special guest. And I have to tell you, I've been following this lady for a long time. I met her through EXP. I I simply adore this woman, and there's a couple of reasons why. Her name is Christa Proctor. She's in Roseville area, I think. Right, Krista?
Yes.
Yeah, Roseville. Number one, she's one of the sweetest persons I've ever met. Number two, she has deep religious convictions. Number three, she's a rock star. She's a producer, and I asked her to come on today to enlighten us and all of us. And this is going out live on Facebook, and then it's recorded. So, Krista, you will get a copy of this to put on your website. But I just wanted her to come on and share her success story. And I'm not going to talk anymore. Krista, I'm going to turn it over to you. First question is, how did you get started?
Well, Frank, that is a great question. Before I answer that, I just want to shout out a little bit of praise toward your way as well. Before I met you, I had heard of you. Your reputation always precedes you, and it's always amazing things that are said about you. Everyone, to know you, Frank, is to love you. And not only are you so skilled at what you do and such a great leader, but you are someone that's enjoyable to be around. And I know that people who follow you and who have followed your lead enjoy doing that, because you just make it a very safe place for people and fun. And so thank you for having me. And yeah, I think what caused this conversation to come about today was that you might have seen a recent video I put out about how I'm really helping take my business. I'm expanding my business, so I'm helping people take a digital real estate play, like make that play. And
Okay.
What happened, like for me, how I got started, it kind of reminds me of when I got started in real estate to begin with. We lived through the great financial crisis of '08, and I was not in real estate at the time.
Okay.
The only real estate that I was in was a foreclosure that I was experiencing. And so, foreclosure, bankruptcy, all that, we were ministers full time. And with that, what happened was I was praying for, like, there's got to be a way to make money, right? And so I found a coach who introduced me to real estate. You and I both know Brent Gove. And what I learned was he had a system. And if you follow this system, you can't fail. Like, it's going to work because the system is fail proof. And so I became really good at imitating and really good at, baking a cake with the recipe. Don't change the recipe. If you want the cake to taste that good every time, just don't change the recipe. So that's what I did. And lo and behold, the system worked. And then a couple years ago, I mean, my business is still, thankfully, because I've learned the good practices that you teach, Frank, about always continuing to build your database, nurture your database. But there was a desire in me to get out more in the online space and to help other people do that as well. And I just feel like that's kind of the new frontier. And it's the fastest growing ownership opportunity in the world right now, is what space do you own digitally? And so I have this program called Speak and Prosper. It's where I can help not just myself and realtors, but other people as well who want to get into the digital space arena. And I help them build out their digital footprint. And it's crazy, Frank, because with this system, entrepreneurs and experts, coaches, real estate coaches are generating 6 figures in a single day using live virtual events. So that's kind of what it is and how I got into it. I just wanted to always keep growing, keep expanding, and keep, going toward the future.
But well, it must be working because Krista, in the last 2 to 3 years, your business has just exploded. Kind of tell us how that all came about.
Yeah. So, again, it's back to following, a pattern and a system. So I did in real estate, I started with open houses, which I would say is kind of a analog version of this digital space. When you, instead of, I just don't like cold calling myself. I've done it. I can do it. I have done it. I've generated sales from it, but I don't enjoy it. And that's
Right.
one, and you're a slave to the phone all day long. And that is great if that's your jam, and awesome. Me, I like talking, I like holding an audience. And so open houses was kind of the best way to have like a mini pop-up event every week, where you have your own pop-up shop. People want to talk real estate, they come to you, you're not barging in on their territory. And that's how I saw it. And so this digital event space kind of works the same way. And you start with, by, like, a lot of people just think, what will I say? That's what a lot of people feel, even with open houses. Realtors struggle with that. Like, what am I going to say? So it's on the digital event space. If you're wanting to, you want to reach more buyers, you want to reach more sellers, you want to attract more agents, which, if you're part of EXP, I mean, I would encourage you to look into that. I think right now agents are looking for a lifeline, and you've got something that can really offer them some tools, some substance, some future opportunities that maybe they're looking for. So how do you get out there? Instead of calling one agent at a time, you can hold a live virtual event. And a lot of people are like, what would I say? And I mean, we teach, it's interesting, Frank, because I would say, even if you're good at talking to people, the number one fear, it's been proven, the number one fear of is
Public
speaking.
speaking.
Have you heard? Yeah. And you and I have talked about this too, because when we first started getting, like, doing some reels and things like that on Instagram, which you're killing it completely, but remember how hard it was to begin? Just going live, just getting out there. And we talk for a living. And so what I've learned is your ability to speak as an agent, and how you've been able to sit, if you're listening to this, one-on-one across the table from a seller, from a buyer, and actually move them forward. The market will pay you a lot of money for that skill.
Yeah.
Speak.
Yeah.
And so it's actually there's a whole area that you can tap into, and not only that, but create more impact. So what we do is we help people with that fear of speaking first by sharing with them. It's a transformational speaking framework. So you're not just giving information, but you know exactly what to say, when to say it. And then we teach you to hold this event, right? Well, online. And then you're like, well, who's going to come? That's a new problem that people have, is that fear of, what if no one shows up? And the amazing thing about a virtual platform is you don't have to have a big room to have a big event, to have a big opportunity, to have a big influx of new business. And so we teach the fastest, most leveraged way to fill that room, and it's called the voice amplifier method. So that way you have the right people in your virtual event waiting to hang on every word you're going to say, and they're excited to be there. And then at the actual event, a lot of people have never put on an event before, and so they're like, this is on me. Like, what is going to happen at this event?
Yeah.
What's going to be talked about? What's going to be done? And so we've got this own the stage method, because many people, when they hold an event, they talk about what they're interested in and what they want to share. But what we train you to do, there's an actual, it's an own the stage method, we call it, where you're gathering enough insight to where you're going to be speaking exactly what your audience is hungry for. You're not going to be guessing what is it they need, what is it they want. And when you speak to exactly what your audience most desires, nothing will stop them from going forward with you. So that, and then the last thing we do as part of this Speak and Prosper system is, we help people actually, if they want to, make money from their event. Some people hold events just to get more buyers. I mean, you'll always make money for, like, if you're attracting more buyers, attracting more sellers, attracting more agents, that's a way to make money. But if you also have a message in your heart that you've always thought, man, if I could like get paid to speak on this, that would be a dream. I think that was the biggest mystery for me, even being a speaker for many years on other stages like churches and different events. I used to wonder, but how do you actually get paid for doing this? And so we remove the veil and we teach you how to line people up, sort through those people, and that they'll be actually waiting in line to pay you money for your expertise, but you'll only be working with the people that are the perfect fit for your program. And so that's, that's kind of how I got started. And that's what it's all about. That's what I'm teaching. Frank, I've spent, well, you and I have talked about this. I mean, how many conferences we've both been to, which are great. I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars learning like some really great ninja skills on building buyer momentum inside of people and tearing down their false beliefs so that they can actually make the move that they are born to make. And so what I've done is my partner Lisa and I, we've distilled down like what are the essential elements, and we can teach at a third grade level, to where if you don't have a big email list, you don't have a big database, you don't have a big social media following, you don't want to post 10 times a day every day, you can still do this without doing that and be very successful.
Well, it's working for you because I've seen you evolve and you've become very, very polished. And it impresses me because, well, if anybody wants to do video and having self-confidence, they just look at my videos. I mean, my God, I have become so self-conscious of the way I look. Am I overweight? Am I too fat? Am I losing my hair? I come off real gruff, and I look at someone like you, and that system must work because, Krista, you come across so good. Before we forget, while I ask the next question, can you put down your phone number and your email address in case anybody is looking at this, how they can contact you?
Yes, I will. And I'm going to put a link here in our chat. You just want me to put it in the chat?
Yeah. Yeah. So, Krista, first of all, we've talked extensively here. Real quick, can you just take a couple of seconds or a minute or two? Tell us about, you're a mom. How many children do you have? What does your husband do? Because people can relate to this.
Yeah, I am a mom. I have 4 daughters. My oldest is now 23. My baby is 15. So they're all stacked in between there. And when I got started in real estate, it was during a really difficult time because our 2 oldest daughters were diagnosed with autism when they were little. And so
oh my goodness,
for a long time, they were nonverbal and I was a 24/7 caregiver. And so for me to go get a job to help the family, because my husband is still a pastor. And when you're a pastor, especially when you're running a nonprofit that is kind of dependent on charitable contributions, when you go through something like the crash of 08 and everyone's losing their jobs and houses, that was really a tough time. And thank God there was opportunities for food stamps and food bank and all those things. But that's when I got into real estate, was because I was like, Lord, how can I make real money, but do it in a few hours? Because I just didn't have a lot of time, And so I remember working with another coach that we both know, Anita Hodges, and she has you time block. That's your first thing you do. And I had literally, Frank, we figured out I had 7 hours a week to do real estate. And so, yeah, you have to get good at working smarter, not harder.
Right.
Anyway, so that's kind of what our background was. Real estate became a great oh my gosh, just a lifesaver for me, for our family. And then my husband, he's still a pastor, and
Is it
we
in a church in Roseville?
we're both licensed pastors with a church in Roseville, but we passed the baton of being senior pastors about 7 years ago.
Got it.
And he runs a ministry called City Pastors Fellowship now.
Cool.
And so, yeah.
All right. So, Krista, in your experience, what is holding people back?
Honestly, Frank, you kind of nailed it. Even after, when we talked just now, like, it's that fear of speaking. I mean, it might be with you. I think you're an amazing speaker. So all those things, you've found a way to get past that false belief. And so that fear of speaking, what am I going to say? So yeah, we've found a way to help people with this framework so that they literally don't wonder what they're going to say and when. I mean, it's so well choreographed for you that you never wonder, what are you going to say? And so that's the number one that holds people back. And so we've got that framework that can really help people. I mean, the other thing is we have this, the other thing is, like, they just think that they don't believe that what they have to say is maybe relevant. And let me just tell you, like, what maybe it's out there and you've even gleaned from other people, but no one says it the way you say it. And some people will only hear it when you say it. And those are the people that are waiting for you to go ahead and speak and to get your message out there. Even if it sounds a little bit like Frank's, even if it sounds a little bit like mine, Frank doesn't have, people who hear you aren't maybe going to hear Frank. So there are people waiting, and they're actually crying out for the message that you have.
Right now, this morning, people probably didn't sleep because they're worried about everything else and they don't know what to do. And that's what I come across, is people are looking for something, especially in this crazy market that we're in. So you gave us your phone number and your email address about learning more about you, but I suggest that you go to ChristaProctor.com. I'm assuming that you have that.
I do have that.
You're on YouTube, right?
But the link is speakandprosper.live.
Got it. Okay, that's important. So Chris will
my
note that.
ChristaProctor.com is under construction right now. So if they go there, it's
All right, good. So one of the main reasons that I did the video is because Chris, my VA in the Philippines and my coach, told me that it doesn't matter how many people are looking at your YouTube, you got to get it on YouTube and you got to get it on Google reviews, because somewhere, somehow, somebody's listening to you and you don't even know it, because we all come through different experiences. I've told you before, I don't want somebody getting up in front of me and telling me about how much money they got, the cars, the houses. I want people to talk to me who fell flat on their face and what they did to pick themselves up. And I'm telling you, everybody has fallen flat on their face at one time in their life. We're starting over. We're doing a lot of things. And that's what I love about you, is that you have such a deep and passionate caring for people. You're so religious based. When you speak, you're so calm. And I'm going to go out there and say it. I think that's the Lord giving you comfort. I really do. And you struggled with that for a while, because we talked.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So that was a big aha for me.
Yeah.
And you don't know this, but that has really rubbed off on me. I mean, I've become stronger in my faith because of you.
Wow, Frank.
Yeah.
Well,
You didn't even know that one.
No.
I know.
No,
So, Krista,
you never know who you're gonna.
How are you moving forward?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
What's that?
What was that
What'd
question?
You say?
I was just saying, you never know who you're going to impact, do you?
No, you never really do, because we've talked about the speakers You know, I like this one. I don't like this one because of this one. And I get my favorite speaker, I have to tell you, of all time is Rick Jiha. God rest his soul. He was my favorite speaker because he taught me if you're vulnerable in front of people, you know, because emotion wins people over, not logic.
That's so true.
It is.
That is true.
So, Krista, in the minutes that we got coming down, because we only have a finite amount of time, what would you like to say to the audience that's going to go out live?
Well, what I want to say to you, if you're still listening to this, I just feel like that's because you do have a vision for your life, that you want to get a message out to more people, whether that's you want to reach more buyers, you want to reach more sellers, you want to reach more agents. Like, you know, you've got something inside of you that's greater. And I remember hearing Sheila Fager on once, Frank, and she said, quit playing small. And so for you to
Yeah.
keep that message inside of you is playing small when the world needs to hear what you have to offer. And if you're struggling right now as a realtor in the business, because I know a lot of realtors are struggling, I'm just telling you, like, make a move, do something, expand. Right now is not time to contract, it's time to expand. And if you would get this skill, the speaking skill, and use that platform of this digital real estate and expand that and help other people expand that too. I mean, you're going to become more than a realtor. You're going to become the CEO of your own company, where, you know, I would just encourage everyone right now to expand. And then the last thing I would say is, it's time to get more wealth in the hands of good people. And the thing I know about the real estate industry, it's so funny because realtors kind of get a bad rap out, but realtors are some of the best people I've ever met on the planet. And so generous, so giving. And it's time to put more wealth in the hands of good people. And this is another new frontier. You know, it's like EXP. If you saw it before the rest of the world saw it, you're so blessed, right? The new waves are coming faster and faster as we go, as technology comes, like more technology comes on board. So I would say, don't wait around for an invitation to speak and to get your message out there. How many times Frank, have you heard of people wishing they got invited to speak on someone else's stage?
Or they're mad because they're not speaking.
Right. You don't need an invitation to speak. This is your invitation to create your own platform. If you've got this, you've got a platform, and you can create an amazing platform and reach people that you don't even know about yet. So I would just say, don't wait for an invitation. It's your time. The time is now. You have to make it happen. Don't wait for it to happen. Make it happen.
Wow. That's this could go on for another couple hours. This is so good. Krista, thank you so much for coming on. I follow your career. I listen to every video that you do. I may not comment at all this time because I'm rifling and I'm busy just like you are, but God bless you. Thank you for everything you've done, not only to me, but the whole organization. There's so many people that can relate to you, and you are so loved by so many.
Wow. Thank you, Frank. I just invite anybody can I just say this one last thing in closing? Because you're one of these people for me. When I was new in real estate and I found Brent and people like you, I would call people like you guys the easy button. Because when I didn't know how to do it, there was a who that could help me. And it was Brent. Like, I would run to Brent and ask him something that I thought was so hard. And then he would tell me the answer. I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's so easy. And I just want to invite anyone listening, let me be that who for you. I would love to show you how to do all this stuff. So yeah, I invite you to check that link out. We're having a free half-day masterclass where we literally will tell you everything. We're not going to hold any information back. Like, you'll get all the information. So,
Okay.
Frank, I don't know but I just got a text from a mutual friend of ours saying that the link says the meeting hasn't started yet. But
I don't know what to tell you. I'm not into technology.
Me either.
Obviously, you and I are on, Chosen's on, and Chris is on. So,
Exactly.
and they can watch the recording that we'll post
Oh,
today.
great. I'll tell them that. I'll tell them you can watch the recording. I'll send it to them.
Yeah. Krista, I hope to see you this week. Hopefully.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And thank you again. And
Thank you.
I'd love for you to be back on in a couple of months.
I would love it. Thanks for everything you're doing, Frank.
All right,
Bye.
Krista. Bye-bye. Thanks.